So the Monaco Grand Prix is boring, hey? Well, how about half a dozen penalties, Max not even getting off the start line, 2 cars into the wall at the final corner, a championship contender getting a drive-through, a red flag, and a crazy 10-lap sprint to the flag. It's your only comprehensive weekly motorsport show. It's Sidepods and Splitters, episode 3. Let's go. Also coming up in this week's show, we've got a massive look ahead to the 2026 Le Mans 24 Hour. But firstly to Monaco, where Kimi Antonelli just keeps knocking out the wins. And look, after years of hearing the Dutch national anthem, I think you'll all agree that none of us can get sick of the Italian national anthem just yet. In a total throwback to days gone by, a brutal mix of mechanical issues and track chaos saw 7 drivers DNF, leaving only 15 classified. That paved the way for some massive surprises in the points, including Fernando Alonso dragging the Aston into 10th and Isaac Hadjar scoring his first ever podium for Red Bull. But it was absolute heartbreak for Cadillac. Sergio Perez was adjudged to have jumped the restart, copping a 10-second time penalty that dropped him from the points paying 10th all the way down to 15th and dead last of the classified finishers. So as it happened, qualifying, and although Ferrari dominated practice, it was Kimi Antonelli who put in another Saturday stunner to grab one of the most important pole positions of the season, ahead of Max Verstappen in second and a resurgent Lewis Hamilton in third. Local hero Charles Leclerc, who stole provisional pole with a stunning first-time lap, but had to settle for 4th after kissing the wall on his final run. Again, we won't put any blame on Charles for this. To the race, and Kimi got away perfectly, while an impotent Max Verstappen limped away to an early retirement. The 2 Ferraris of Hamilton and Leclerc settled in behind, while the former title challenger and now confirmed Mercedes number 2, George Russell, was frustratingly stuck behind Pierre Gasly. From there, Antonelli controlled the pace, extending the gap out to 11 seconds before hitting traffic. With the first round of pit stops came the first bit of drama. First Hamilton, then Russell, and then Franco Colapinto all received 5-second penalties for speeding in the pit lane. A few laps later, and Gasly and Piastri joined the bad boy club for the exact same offence, prompting everyone to think something was seriously a bit miss. The FIA would come out post-race to clarify that the drivers had been warned that cutting the pit entry line would cause anomalies in the timing loops. Okay, to lap 60, and one of the greatest romances of modern F1 was rekindled. Lance Stroll and the Armco. Stroll collided with the wall, bringing out the safety car and triggering a flurry of pit lane activity. In a rare blunder, Mercedes dropped the ball by pitting Russell, but not allowing him to serve his 5-second time penalty for the before-mentioned pit lane infringement. Just 6 laps later, Leclerc repeated the same Stroll incident. Again, not his fault. Bringing out the red flag due to the track literally breaking up at Anthony Nose. Now, because Russell hadn't served his time penalty under the safety car, he was hit with a drive-through penalty. Gasly also racked up a second speeding fine, copping another 5 seconds. During the red flag stoppage, George, being George, promptly ran to the stewards to throw a tantrum, claiming claiming life wasn't fair and all that sort of stuff, to which the stewards basically locked the doors and wouldn't let him in. I think that's how it went anyway. I don't know, I wasn't there. Either way, on the restart, he dropped down to P14, having served his drive-through. A final standing start gave Kimi one last test, but he handled it with the maturity and class we're now expecting from the 19-year-old. He cruised home to his 5th straight win, first in Monaco, and extending his points lead. Hamilton crossing the line in second, leaping past Russell in the standings, while Hadjar rounded out the podium courtesy of Gasly's penalties. The first non-Max Verstappen podium in 777 days. Overall, a crazy frenetic race, proving exactly why Monaco is still valued part of motorsport's Triple Crown. To the drivers' standings now, and Kimi sits comfortably atop the order. Hamilton overtakes Russell for second with 90 points, and Leclerc drops to 4th. In the McLaren battle, Oscar Piastri climbs to 5th ahead of Lando. In the Constructors, and it stays pretty much the same. Mercedes lead Ferrari and McLaren, with Red Bull in 4th and Alpine continuing their resurgent 2026 season in 5th position. Alright, enough about Formula 1 for now. Although there is another race this weekend with the Grand Prix de Barcelona Catalunya, it's actually not the biggest race on the planet this weekend. That honour goes to the greatest endurance race on the motorsport calendar, the Le Mans 24 Hour. Steeped in history and intrigue, the 94th running of the French Classic is shaping up to be an absolute epic. If early testing is anything to go by, plenty of teams are in contention. Cadillac and Alpine have shown some very promising pace, so too have the V12 Astons. As expected, both Ferrari and Toyota are lurking around the top 5, and you can bet your house on seeing both teams featuring heavily in the final couple of hours on Sunday. As always with a 24-hour race, practice and qualifying aren't everything, but having a quick car straight out of the box is always a great start at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Last night's running of Hyperpole saw BMW, Alpine, Toyota and Cadillac all showing good pace, so it'll be interesting to see exactly how the first couple of hours play out. With only the Saturday morning warm-up to follow, teams will be keen to show some true pace and iron out any last remaining bugs. Friday Le Mans is always a massive day. Alongside the traditional drivers' parade in town, the track is open up for the fans to walk some of the most famous public roads in France. Okay, so if you're new to Le Mans, the 4 p.m. local race start is midnight here in Australia. Keen Aussie race fans are going to be awake all through the night. If you're only just getting into endurance racing, it's well worth the 6 a.m. Sunday morning wake up to catch the golden hour as the sun starts to set over in France and the headlights make their first impressions on track. With the weather expected to remain dry throughout, we're in for an absolute classic as the titans of endurance racing go head to head. Okay, so make sure you're following us on all your favourite social media channels for live race updates throughout the weekend, and be sure to subscribe to us right here on YouTube for our thorough post-race review. We hope you've enjoyed episode 3. Until next week, keep it on the black stuff, and we'll see you at a racetrack near you soon.